All right, everybody, Dr. Rafich here from Vet Triage. We are leading into the legal aspect of leaving animals in dangerous weather, whether it be too hot or too cold. This is specific to Las Vegas, so I do encourage you, depending on where your location is, to investigate things like this as well, so you can learn what to do, what not to do, or how to appropriately deal with a situation where you find an animal suffering due to weather, being kept outside dangerously, or being locked in a vehicle or whatever, where the temperature outside is posing a threat for that animal's well-being while they are confined in that space, whether it be a home or a car or a garage or whatever. Now, this goes over sort of a general animal type of care, not just heat related or cold related, but I'll go through it anyway because it's always a good learning opportunity. So, City of Las Vegas heat related ordinance. Las Vegas weather can be severely detrimental to the health of your pet. You are required to meet compliance in both city and state laws if your pet is outdoors unattended for any period of time. Under this, it should be unlawful to expose your pet to the elements of the weather and the extremes of heat or cold. By the way, it does say any animal. So, for example, production animals are like that produce food, for example, cows and goats and things like that. They're not necessarily considered pets, but they are animals, obviously. And so it's good of them to use this term animal as opposed to pet. The equine industry, for example, some equine owners consider their horses pets. Some look at them more like a commodity or a source of financial gain or whatever they're doing with their horses. But that's important distinction here with animal. When the temperature is expected to rise above 105 degrees Fahrenheit, additional mechanisms appropriate for this species, including without limitation, misters, swamp coolers, or air conditioning must be provided to allow for the cooling of the body temperature and the prevention for overheating. This is extreme, but Nevada, of course, is used to 100-degree plus weather in the summer, but really it's going to come down to wherever you live. Humidity can make even milder temperatures feel like 100 degrees plus. So it depends on where you live. It is unlawful to tether, tie, chain, or use other restraint on a dog for longer than 10 hours during a 24-hour period of time at any time when the National Weather Service issues a heat advisory. So this is bizarre that they now specify dog, not any other animal, and 10 hours seems very lenient. Because it can get real hot here real quick. Within an hour. If I walk outside with this when it's 100 degrees outside in Las Vegas, I'm sweating within minutes, and I don't have the fur that a dog has. And dogs have a higher body temperature, usually about 100 degrees or so, whereas people are 98.6. So this seems bizarre, little too lenient, I would say. Recommendations: you should have water available in bowls or buckets in a shaded area that cannot be tipped or knocked over. An appropriately sized doghouse should allow protection from the rain, wind, and sun. It's recommended that it is placed in a shaded area with ventilation. Animal Protection Service officers will allow small pools as a secondary cooling device as long as the animal will use the pool as a cooling source. And then here's a website for those who want to look into the details. Then they go into other details here. And so, the important thing about prevention, this is just a small number of preventative measures, right? There's a ton more you can talk about here, everything from just keep your dogs indoors to making sure you have people watching them, maybe video cameras set up, whatever. There's a bunch of things you can talk about. City ordinances and requirements for pets in the city of Las Vegas: spay and neuter. All dogs, cats, ferrets, rabbits, and pigs over the age of 4 months must be spayed or neutered. Rabies vaccination: dogs, ferrets, cats must be vaccinated for rabies within 30 days of reaching the age of 3 months of age. Microchipping: dogs, cats, ferrets. Pet license: dogs, cats, ferrets have to have a city pet license once over the age of 4 months. Responsibility of pet owners: ensuring compliance with city and state laws is your duty. Failure to meet the obligation could lead to felony charges if an animal is discovered in critical condition. Additionally, not providing proof of compliance may result in misdemeanor charges even if the animal is not in critical condition. And then here's the Las Vegas police number and then a QR code. So what this does not address here is what to do if you find an animal that may be suffering because of bad weather. Now, as a veterinarian, obviously, I want people who find animals that are in questionable or obviously dangerous scenarios to speak up or take action and break that car window and save that pet's life. Um, Depending on where you're located, some places are more supportive of that than others. My thought, based on how this is all worded, with it being a misdemeanor and a felony and all that stuff, that seems to give you the right to save an animal. However, since everybody has cell phones these days, and if you have the Animal Protection Services dispatch line on your phone, call them. If you see an animal that's in questionable distress from being in a locked car on a hot day, and the animal doesn't look very good, call them. I mean, you'll get an answer fairly quickly. Say, hey, I'm so and so. I'm in a parking lot. There's a car here with a dog locked in the car. I can't open the doors. It's 120 degrees out. The dog looks like it's bad condition. Do I have permission to break this car window, or what should I do? And let them see what they tell you to do. Obviously, every second counts in an emergency situation, but at the same time, you don't want to incur all these legal and financial hardships from doing what you thought was the right thing. So call that number, find out what to do in that moment when you're there, or even better, call them preemptively before you're even in that scenario. So now here's some advice for other things. Lost and found animals. If you lose an animal, I recommend that you check the Animal Foundation. That's a rescue that's located here in town in Las Vegas. There are several social media platforms where residents will post about animals as well. The Animal Foundation utilizes Petco Love for lost and found animals. The pet support hotline is available to aid you if you lose a pet. Moreover, you can reach out to the pet support hotline for inquiries if you find animals. Microchipping is very important and required. Here's the pet support hotline that you can contact as well in this scenario. Community cats. In December 2015, the city of Las Vegas adopted an ordinance to allow free roaming cats within the city wards, and residents are allowed to be community cat caregivers. As defined by this ordinance, community cat caregiver means any person who, in accordance with good faith, try to trap, sterilize, vaccinate, and return any community cat, provide voluntary care, including without limitation food, water, medical care to these cats. Cats are allowed to be at large within the city limits as stated in ordinance. For more information, contact them. How do you know if a cat is part of the community cat program? When a cat's part of the program, they'll be sterilized, spayed or neutered, vaccinated, and have a tipped ear. And that's the clue, is tipped ear. Now, the tipped ear means that literally the pointy ear, and we cut the tip off. It's done under anesthesia, of course. They don't feel it. And compared to the incision that they've had from the neuter or the spay, the ear tipping is virtually inconsequential. But keep in mind, animals can lose their tips of their ears when they get into a fight with another animal, for example, or they get trauma for some reason, or they get frostbite or whatever, and they lose the tip of the ear. So unfortunately, they don't mention here right or left ear. Typically, there's standardization depending on the program that you're in. It's either right ear or left ear, but it's always the corner of the ear. Although sometimes people will take a notch out of the ear instead, so it'll create like this Pac-Man shape in the ear too. So this needs to be more defined, because you can't tell from looking at a cat whether it's been sterilized or vaccinated. You're not going to know. If the sterilization procedure occurred, months ago or years ago, the scar is barely there, the hair is covering it, you're not going to catch a wild cat and look. You need a sign from far away. And so the ear tipping is a sign you can find from a distance if you're trying to, approach a feral animal. Leash law. Per this ordinance, all animals must be restrained by leash or lead if not confined within their properties, fence, cage, coop, chain, leash, or other restraining. Noise annoyance. To file a noise annoyance complaint, you have to contact this number. Complaints require a 10-day waiting period. Upon the first complaint, a corrective letter is sent to the dog owner. For the second complaint, officer visits the residence. If it persists with the third complaint, then there's a voluntary statement and barking log, which they must complete and return, both parties. That's good. That's fine. And then spay, neuter, and vaccinations, all this information here. So anyway, Hearts Alive is actually partnered with Vet Triage. That's pretty cool. So yeah, so just some legal things to think of when we're looking at these types of policies here. Big one, of course, because we're in the summer now in Las Vegas, is heat exhaustion, heat stroke in animals, especially in dogs. And hopefully this gave you some guidance. We'll see you guys again tomorrow for another video. Take care.